Chapter 48, Physiology and Various Diseases of the Bladder. Physiology. Capacity. The capacity of the bladder is physiological, not anatomical. Guion. Although in actual size, the healthy bladders of different individuals do not differ materially, the actual capacity of the organ depends upon its sensitiveness, and this sensitiveness varies at different times and with different individuals. The physiological capacity of the bladder, the amount of urine which an ordinary bladder holds when the desire to urinate is first felt, is about 250 cc's, 8 ounces. Sensitiveness. The healthy bladder is quite insensitive to touch, except about the orifices of the ureters and the urethra, but very sensitive to tension. Thus, a sound may be poked about in the bladder and cause no sensation whatever, except in the prostatic urethra. On the other hand, the torture of, quote, holding water, end quote, requires no comment. The sensitiveness of the bladder may be diminished by habit. Beer guzzlers and diabetics may not urinate more often than those who pass perhaps only half as much urine. The sensitiveness is, on the other hand, increased by nervousness and by inflammation. Absorption. Although the point is disputed, it is probable that the mucous membrane of the healthy bladder is practically as impervious as the skin, but fluids are rapidly absorbed through the mucous membrane of the posterior urethra and also through the bladder epithelium when inflamed. Contraction. Urination. Quote, man urinates with his bladder, not with his urethra, end quote, says Guion. The mechanism of urination has been illuminated by fluoroscopy, with this organ distended by some visible fluid. The posterior urethra remains empty as the bladder distends. The desire to urinate is associated with the contraction of the bladder, which, if the impulse is resisted, passes over and returns with increased intensity. No urine flows into the posterior urethra until urination actually begins. Curiously enough, suprapubic prostatectomy, by destroying the internal sphincter, leaves the posterior urethra a funnel-shaped cavity. As the bladder fills, the posterior urethra fills with it. After prostatectomy, therefore, the urine is retained solely by the external sphincter.